Personality profile of Facebook user John Smith. John Smith in real life. I have known John Smith for approximately 5 years. He is somebody that I consider to be a dear friend. The following personality analysis is based on personal experience and knowledge of his character. So the domain I chose is the trait and type perspective, which states that personality is highly individualistic and descriptive. As such, John Smith's personality profile would include the following traits. I would say he is caring, charismatic, funny, ambitious, determined, opinionated, stubborn, self-centered, outgoing, and somewhat flashy or ostentatious. A significant component of this perspective is measurement, so therefore I will assess John Smith's personality using the 5-factor model. Beginning with extroversion, I believe he would have a high score, indicating sociability and talkativeness. He is definitely a very social individual. He's always the life of the party, always very talkative, so I'm confident that he would score highly here. Agreeableness, I think he would score more in the mid to low range. While he is very good-natured, he is also very calculating and has kind of somewhat of a suspicious nature and becomes irritated with others rather quickly. Neuroticism, he would score low here, reflecting his high self-control and emotional stability. Conscientiousness, he would score high here, indicating his responsibility and ambition. Those that know him know that he is very ambitious, very responsible, very determined, so he definitely would score high here. And finally, openness. This was a little bit more challenging for me to determine. I am fairly confident he would score more in the mid to low range for openness. John is very good at creatively solving problems, but he is above all else a very practical individual and has lately indicated a preference for routine. So this is why I would give him the more mid to low score here. So now let's turn to his social media persona. John's personality is very different on social media than in real life. In the past several years, the frequency with which he posts on social media has decreased significantly, and he's actually voiced to me on several occasions his desire to get rid of his Facebook altogether. So using the same domain, John's personality profile based on his Facebook would include the following traits. I would say he was confident, successful, flashy, ostentatious, mechanically inclined, as all of his posts are of cars, or the vast majority are, highly sociable, and somewhat of a thrill seeker or adrenaline junkie. Despite being very opinionated and outspoken, he actually has no political posts, which is somewhat surprising if you know him. And finally, to evaluate him using the 5-factor model, again, we do see some differences here. Beginning with extroversion, he would still score high because the posts that are not about cars are always of him with friends, with his wife, going places, doing things. So he still comes across as very extroverted on his social media. Agreeableness, I actually think he would score high here, simply because his calculating and suspicious nature doesn't really translate to his social media. He just kind of seems more like a good-natured, laid-back kind of guy on social media. Neuroticism, he would still score low because he really never makes emotional posts whatsoever. He never posts about family drama, fights with his wife. Nothing that really goes on in his personal life goes on social media, so he would still score low here. Conscientiousness, this was a little bit more difficult because he is obviously a very ambitious guy, but that's kind of hard to see on social media. I still think he would score in the mid to high range, simply because he is posting a lot of projects that he does, either home improvement or things with cars. So you get the general sense that he's an ambitious guy looking at his Facebook. And one big change, I think he would actually come across as very open to experience on his social media versus him in real life. This is because he travels a lot with his job, and he likes to post pictures of places he is and things he's doing. And if you didn't know that he's there because of his work, you might think that he's somebody that actively seeks out new experiences. which is not really the case. He just more takes advantage of, the experiences that are given to him. So I would think he'd score high here in openness. So here's an example of some of his social media posts, just to give you an idea of the kind of person he is online. We have, posts of some cars, some posts of him and his wife on a wine tour, him and a friend flexing their muscles, and some more posts about cars. So that's just kind of the general idea. So here's a diagram that shows John's personality both on social media and in real life. I would say that they are not in conflict per se, but that his persona on social media is really just a mere fraction of who he is. Scrolling through Facebook, the only things you can really tell for certain about John is that he likes cars and enjoys being with friends. Obviously, that doesn't really tell you much about who he is as a person. So the biggest difference between the personality profiles is that John's social media persona portrays really only a small superficial component of who he is. So first, using this profile for any formal purposes would be problematic, as it is incomplete and therefore is incorrect. So as you can see, the person you see on social media is really just a very small fraction of who John is as a person. So the complex model I would use to evaluate John's personality is the timing of events model, which states that life events affect personality development, and that people go through these normal events at different times, affecting each person differently. I feel like this is the most appropriate model because there have been certain key events in John's life that have shaped his personality. So I'll describe these events, and then I will describe how they contribute to his different personas online and in real life. So at age 5, John's father left, leaving his mother to raise both John and his 2 sisters completely by herself. So for most of his childhood, his mom worked 3 jobs to support them, and he lived in a trailer park for most of his life. So first, he had very impoverished, very humble beginnings. Also, importantly, at this age, he became the man of the house. This has affected him in many ways later in life, what he thinks it means to be a man, and kind of his emotional development. Then at age 19, John joined the military. People that knew him at the time did not think he would succeed because he was very stubborn, very opinionated, very outspoken. Despite that, he has had a very successful military career. He became EOD, which is Explosive Ordnance Disposal, or Bomb Squad in the military sector, or in the civilian sector. And because of this, that is a Special Forces career, he began living a high-speed, dangerous, live fast, die young type of life. Definitely became involved in like the party scene. Definitely fit his kind of adrenaline junkie type persona. That changed at age 26 when he met the woman that is now currently his wife. He really matured. He began desiring a quieter life. He really began to pull away from the party scene. He began to pull away from the dangerous pastimes he would partake in, like car racing and motorcycle racing and stuff, and really began desiring just quieter nights in. And then at age 30, he married, and for the first time began voicing a desire to have children. So here we see kind of a linear progression of some significant life events and how it affected his personality, and how he really matured in the past 5 years or so. So here are some differences in persona from his social media to his real life personality. So when John was younger, he was interested in partying and having fun. And the social media posts of this era are very reflective of that. If you look back, a lot of his posts are of partying, girls, drinking, things with friends. After meeting his current wife, John's personality definitely began to change and mature. However, his social media persona really remained the same, with the only difference being that he just posted less. And of course he posted not with various girls, just his wife, but he still posts a lot of the same content, just not as frequently. So here's kind of a image that helps describe what I'm articulating here. So before age 26, after he left and joined the military, his social media was really an accurate representation of his more party boy lifestyle. After meeting the woman that is his wife now, he became more focused on family and career and really desired more of a routine. Obviously, he has matured from his more thrill-seeking type personality. However, the social media really continues to depict this flashy lifestyle, but it's not really a true or accurate representation of his personality anymore. So let's now discuss the timing of events model and its usefulness in describing personality development. So the timing of events model, or the social clock, provides a social context for personality development. Even the mere belief that certain milestones should be met at a certain age, for example, a person should be married by age 27 or have their first child by age 30, etc., affects behavior and personality. So for example, a young woman in her early 20s may be dating men just to have fun, but as she gets older and the social pressure of getting married really sets in, she might start looking for a partner that she views as a possible or potential husband, and that will change how she behaves and how she acts in the dating scene, and also to an extent her personality as well. Also, life events are viewed and interpreted differently at different ages. So one study of fathers, ranging from young fathers, ages 25 and younger, to older fathers, 35 and up, found that the advice that they would give to new fathers was different. So the younger fathers would advise new fathers to be patient, whereas older fathers, the advice that they would give is to enjoy the time with their child. So this is reflective of where these individuals are at their life as well. So of course it makes sense that younger fathers would perhaps struggle with patience, whereas older fathers have mastered that component. So in John's case, those who knew him in real life have seen firsthand how he has matured in the past several years, but without the context of meeting his wife and desiring a more quiet or routine life, this would seem like a sudden personality change. So having this context really makes sense why his personality has changed. And that's the importance of this timing of events model, is it provides important details and context for personality development. So here are my references, and thank you very much.